Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Quicc Gains. We are joined by, I've been told I'm not allowed to call him a guru, George Damanis, who is a marketing expert, all-round nice guru, photography extraordinaire, drone expert / flyer. We just had a chat about that. That was cool. And welcome. How's it going?
Yay.
You're probably the smartest person who we've had on this show so far.
No, that is completely false. Kelly Noble Marabella is the smartest person that you've had on.
Okay, smartest in terms of intelligence, yes. Smartest in terms of all-round shirt, blazer, and everything. She had a t-shirt, same as I did.
Well, I mean
smartest as in best dressed.
I mean, I'm the most dapper.
I wouldn't go that far.
Oh.
I'm kidding.
Oh, excuse me. Yeah, hold on. I do take umbrage with something that you said, sir.
Okay, go on.
Expert? What's the you air quoted expert on me?
Because I wanted to call you a guru and you said no.
No, don't call me a guru.
But what's wrong with being a guru?
Gurus are like get Vincent Orlac. Get somebody tag Vincent Orlac on Facebook. Get him on. What time is it in Arizona?
I have no idea.
He'll explain to you. Not a guru.
Not a guru. Okay.
Nah, gurus are bunk.
An expert.
Gurus are bunk. They're nonsense. I'm trying to find the feed so I can share it, my man. What's going on here?
Whose feed? Your feed? My feed?
Your feed. Are we in fact live?
We are live on Facebook and YouTube.
Let's see. Quick. Don't mind the dead air here. I'm just trying to find this feed so I can share it and help you guys out. There we go. I see me sipping on a thing right there. On my smoothie.
We will get into the show shortly once George has done his distribution efforts, which is lovely for him, obviously.
There we go. Share it to my timeline. Boom.
Ta-da. I'm going to say ta-da a lot.
There we go. No, I can. Oh, there's sound effects.
Yeah, sound effects.
There's sound effects. I just want to let me plug my smoothie here.
Go on.
That green. I'm going healthy. I'm going healthy, man. Let me tell you. I went to the doctor last week, and my cholesterol is slightly higher than normal. I mean, that would happen when. Did you see my post about me making my own bacon?
Do you know what? I showed your post about your own bacon to my wife, and my wife said, "I hate you. Be like that." I was like, "Wow."
Oh man, I
her version of a bacon sandwich is like tiny, thinned, out of a packet. We don't have bacon like you have bacon.
No,
like that was bacon. That was like half a cow.
Pig.
Pig. That's what I meant.
No, so we had. No, yeah, I'm big into barbecuing. I'm like in barbecuing in the genuine sense of it as like smoking meat. Mm-hmm. So I'm, I cook food. I cook meat low and at a low temperature, slowly over a long period of time. And if for those of my friends that may or may be on right now or coming later would know, last year when we were at Conversations Many Chats conference, and it was held in Austin, Texas, and I woke up. I'm a fanatic about barbecue. I woke up at
Texas is a good place to have barbecue.
Yeah, so I woke up at like 4:30 and I got in line at Franklin Barbecue at 5:05 or 5:10 in the morning, and I wasn't the first person online. And I waited until it opened at like 11 in the morning. And I had lunch. I had Franklin Barbecue for lunch. And it was bar none best barbecue I've ever had in my life. And I've had a lot of barbecue. And top 5 best foods I have ever had. And it was one of the most incredible food experiences I've ever had. And it made me think why am I even doing this anymore? Like I'll never be this good, kind of like a thing.
You questioned your existence.
I'm huge. I'm huge about barbecue. I love barbecue, and every once in a while I try something new, and I wanted to try curing my own pork belly and turning it into bacon. So I did a lot of research on it, and it's actually a very technical process. It's not hard. It's precise.
How long were those strips? Because they looked like long.
Yeah, they were.
They looked at least a foot long.
I didn't actually measure them. But I made 2 slabs, one for me and one for my brother-in-law's family, and both slabs were. I bought them at 5 pounds each. I'm sorry, you're gonna have to do the conversion yourself. I don't know. Stupid American education system doesn't teach us kilograms.
I work in pounds anyway.
Yeah,
we work in both technically because we are so good. We do both.
Yeah.
Inside the pond.
So yeah, they're 5 pounds each, and after smoking them, they reduced to about just around 4 pounds each of bacon. But I share. There's no way I'm eating 4 pounds of bacon myself. So I brought it to my in-laws, threw them on the grill. Those are the ones on the stick, the ones you probably saw there. And but yeah, my diet's been junk for, especially after, the whole lockdown, eating bags of Doritos and, whatever.
I don't have a belly at all off camera in the slightest.
Off camera.
I've not put on about half a stone in.
Yeah, let me tell you about Quicc gains. The camera puts on 20 pounds. That's the Quicc gains.
Yeah, I'm pretty much on the upper end of that.
Tip your waiters.
See, funny enough, I actually did watch my wife and I both did actually, a series that Jeff Goldblum did on, I think it was the Disney streaming.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I love
the barbecue one.
The World According to Jeff Goldblum.
Yes.
It would be a terrible show if Jeff Goldblum was not not involved in that.
But then he explained the difference between barbecue and grilling. And what we do over here, we call barbecue, but it's not barbecue. In the UK, very, very few people barbecue. They grill, and they probably grill badly, to be fair. Mm-hmm. But over there, barbecue is a thing. It's life.
It is for many people. I often half joke, maybe 3/4 joke about start opening my own barbecue restaurant with my wife.
Do it.
And my wife's like, "You've already started a company. You're not allowed to start another one yet."
Why not?
She does like the mom thing to me, where it's like, finish your meal and then you can have ice cream. Kind of like be successful in this business venture, and then you can start another one. Like
I'll just do 2 or 3 or 4.
Serial entrepreneurialism.
We're digressing. We're supposed to be talking about creativity, and we're talking about barbecue and meat.
Hey,
question out to people live: do you want to talk about barbecue more and how to grill your own bacon, barbecue your own bacon, smoked and everything, or do you want to talk about creative stuff and marketing in general?
I mean, why can't we do both? I mean, food is exceptionally creative, and if you go to www.georgeeatseverywhere.com, you will see some of that creativity with regards to food.
GeorgeEatsEverywhere.com.
How's that for a shameless plug?
I am literally searching that right now.
Are you really? That's fantastic.
Let's see what we can find.
Bum, bum, bum.
We're going to find a way of talking about food and creativity at the same time. Yeah. We're going to do it. Right. Here we go. Living the dream. This is George Eats Everywhere.
There it is.
So let's break this down. For people who don't know you, you're a marketer. Mm-hmm. You're a photographer.
Yeah, I am.
A videographer.
I am.
A drone flyer.
Yes.
A food connoisseur.
Mm-hmm.
A former Coast Guard person.
Guard. So with regards to the Coast Guard.
Yep.
I do me a favor. Click that OK, because I don't want to get in trouble with GDPR. You're in Europe.
This is true. Not for much longer though.
So we, with regards to the Coast Guard, my military service, I came in a very long time ago, back in 2001, pre September 11th, and we called ourselves Coasties. And I love that. I love that term coastie. You know, it wasn't that serious. It wasn't, you know, it's like, hey, I'm a coastie. Now it's like guardians, and it's like, it sounds too pretentious to me. Like the new class of Coast Guardsmen call themselves guardians, and it's like, okay, I mean, if you're proud of it, cool. I was proud of coastie, but yeah, I guess the proper term is Coast Guardsman.
There you go. You taught me something new.
Yeah.
So I want to know, how do you balance marketing, photography, videography, and drone flying?
Oh, don't forget my family, bro. I got two little boys. How do I balance it? Somebody let Kelly Noble Mirabella and Molly Mahoney know that this question was asked to a man.
Oh.
How do you balance everything and do the dishes for your wife?
You do that
how do I balance it? Well, I mean, I don't. I mean, that's the blunt and honest truth. I don't. A lot of things fall by the wayside every time something takes priority, except for the family. Absolutely, except for family. That never goes by the wayside. You know, I got to be a dad 24/7. Period. I have to be a husband 24/7. Period.
Yep.
Everything else is a means to be a better family man. You know, right. I have right now. I'm the chief marketing officer of a small real estate, corporate real estate agency. Not an agency. It's a consultancy here on Long Island. That's my full-time job. You know, and then my personal marketing agency, Uptempo Social, it's not defunct, but it's not active right now. I'm not actively taking clients because I have
too much other stuff going on.
Well, I have a full-time job as a CMO. You know, that's that. So, you know, I'm not gonna expend my energy to market somebody else. That, you know, when I have a job where my job is to design a marketing strategy and run marketing for this real estate consultancy. So that fell by the way. So that's an example of that. Photography right now, unfortunately, I'm known for being a conference. I called myself a conference speaker, event speaker, concierge photographer. Mm-hmm. Basically, I provided, and it's a term that I came up with. It did not, a speaker concierge photographer did not exist until social media marketing world 2020, you know, right before the lockdown happened from COVID. You know, I was talking with, I went to the ManyChat party, the VIP party with Kelly Noble Mirabella, who is their YouTube trainer. And
I was on the show, actually. She's she's a good egg.
One of my best friends, and I absolutely, she's fantastic, knows more about chatbots than anybody. And except for maybe Mike Yan, the owner of Mage, maybe, and the people from, you know, Facebook Messenger, but the top three definitely. Yeah. So we're at the party, and Kelly introduces me to the person who's planning conversations, ManyChat's conference, and I'm schmoozing with her, and I'm like, this is what I do, and you know, I'm gonna be there anyway. I'm gonna be taking photos of your speakers anyway, but your speakers will be happier with you if you're paying me and not them. Mm-hmm. You know, and they're like, well, we already have a conference. You know, we already have a conference photographer. I'm like, no, I'm not a conference photographer. I'm a speaker concierge photographer. Your conference photographer is about capturing the experience of your conference. I'm about providing your speakers with the photographic content that they require for their own personal marketing. The shots of them on stage, shots that your conference photographer won't get them. I'm not afraid to jump up on stage behind them and take a shot of their back with the people in front of them. You know, like, I'm like, and one of the things that I negotiate with the conference organizers is I get all access. I go backstage. I don't get stopped, and that's just the way it is. Like I get what your speakers need. And she's like, wow, that's a real value add. We'll be in touch. And I'm like, hell yeah. And Kelly was,
we had this conversation, didn't we? Where
we did.
the first I
we
saw
had this
you,
conversation that night. Right after this happened, I was on such a high because like I've never put myself out like that for like a sales purpose kind of a thing. I've never I've done, I've had a company, I've pitched, I've done that kind of stuff, but I've never tried to actually like seize the moment and like that before. And I was super proud of myself. And we were hanging out at the, now you and I had met previously digitally.
Yeah.
That was our first like in-person conversation. You, me, and Jason were all just sitting at the conference after party.
Yeah, nightclub.
And just having a conversation. I was telling you the story, and it was just, I was on such a high from that experience. But yeah, like that's by the wayside because there's no conferences.
You see, we hadn't spoken by that point, but I had actually seen you like from afar. And I've been, when you're at conferences, you see people kind of go around, you see people doing stuff, then you're like, what's that guy doing? And I was watching you. Every now and again, you'd come up in the corner of my eye, or I'd see you in a distance, or you'd be, kind of walking up some steps or something. And it looked like you were following, almost like stalking people. But that's your thing. That's what you do. You literally, and you were explaining it afterwards, you were following the speakers about their day, meeting people pre and after their speaking gigs as well during the event. The after parties. Your thing is actually capturing almost those kind of unprepared moments. Yeah. And I think one of the photos you showed me was actually funny enough. It was of Kelly, where you just told her to go and walk down, walk down the street along the rail yard. And all you did was just take some natural photos. And they're the photos she actually uses for a lot of her promotional content, like even now. Yeah. And it wasn't prepared at all. It was just, go walk. I'm going to follow you. Ignore me. And I loved that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, like, so what I do with conference speakers is, you're gonna get your stage shots. Of course, everybody wants the shot of them on the stage with the audience and all that other stuff. So I'll get you those shots that you're expecting. But then I try to get some shots that you're not. Like I have two of my favorite shots of Kelly, because we're speaking of Kelly, was conversations in Austin last year. There she came out and it was just like this, like she was totally amped. She's like, whatever, and yelling and jumping and whatever. And they had fog going. They had some fog machines going there when she came out. And then there's just this yellow and this red light that were like crossing. And she's like bent over, like screaming at the audience. And it's just this wonderful shot. And that one's in my portfolio. And then there was one from Marketing World where I'm on the stage. I'm hiding behind the podium. So she was in one of the rooms. Let me try to explain the set for people who weren't there. So she was in one of the rooms upstairs, and it's a large room. You have your audience, and then it's a prefabricated stage. It's basically like a foot off the ground, maybe a little bit more. Two steps up. And then there's on the right side, there's a small podium where they put the sound, the receiver for the microphone that they're wearing, and the laptop for slides. Pretty simple. And then behind that stage is a backdrop. And I jumped up on the stage and I'm hiding back there and I'm just waiting for the shot. And she comes over. She's not looking at me. She's looking up at the slides on like a screen on the far end of the room. And she's pointing up, and there's just got this great shot of her at an upward angle, which is generally not a flattering angle, but it just worked. It was one of those really cool shots. And then our friend Ben Amos, an Aussie, I got a great shot of him downstairs with in what I called the basement of the San Diego Convention Center. It was I forgot what they were calling it. What Social Media Examiner was calling it. They were calling it like marketing. I mean the network hall or something like that. Mm-hmm. But Ben Ben was being backlit or rim lit by a ceiling light. It was just this nice glow about his head, and it was almost like a profile shot of him, and he's like pointing out into the thing, to the audience, and it was one of those shots where I showed it to him after, in camera, and I'm like, dude, look at this. And that shot right there, I forgot off the top of my head. I'm showing it to him, and there's somebody who was supposed to speak at Atomicon, which got canceled.
Yep. And
he's like, you're going to Atomicon? He goes, oh my God. He goes, I love that shot of Ben. I'm like, I want you to shoot me also. Like I wasn't going to take many. I was bringing my family with me to Atomicon if we went, because we were going to do a vacation in Scotland, and I wasn't going to take many clients on for Atomicon. And by the end of like the second day at Marketing World, I had all the commitments. Like people were like, hey, can you shoot me at Atomicon? And I'm like, I don't want to take on more than like 4, because I'm not spending 3 days in Newcastle,
Yep.
walking around with speakers. I want to go on vacation with my family. So, it was one of the things where I was blowing up at Marketing World, and the pandemic ended up, ruining that. But such is life. C'est la vie.
I mean, it brings up an interesting point as well, doesn't it? Where, I mean, we at Quicc, we were at Social Media Marketing World. We were actually sponsoring Atomicon in Newcastle. Obviously, that's my side of the Atlantic. So that was all cool.
Yeah.
Mike, who is the CEO of Quicc, he actually didn't have a passport because he had no reason to leave the US, because let's face it, the US is huge, and he just holidays in the US. But he specifically went out and got a passport, all done, so he can actually come over to Atomicon and everything. It was all lined up. We were going to be doing almost like the roadshow where they're sponsoring or attending, like the VidCons, the Video Marketing World. We're sponsoring Video Marketing World as well, actually. Like loads of events we're going to do this year, and it all got cancelled.
Yeah.
And I mean, you obviously felt the pain of that, because let's face it, if no one's speaking, then you don't have any work to do, which sucks. But it also does beg the question of, how do the speakers get that promotional content now? I mean, how do they get the shots on stage? I mean, you get screen grabs on virtual events, and it's not the same.
No, it's not.
Yeah, personal branding is become quite complicated now.
A lot of my friends that are speakers are dealing with the same issues that I, as a photographer, was. What's really funny was, and unfortunate. It's not. I really wouldn't say it's funny. It's unfortunate. When at Marketing World, I was 2 weeks away from quitting my job and becoming a full-time photographer. Like if I ended up working something out with ManyChat, because part of that conversation at the ManyChat party, passport lost its power. Oh, sorry, Mike.
It hasn't even been used.
The part of the part of what I was talking to them about that was about traffic and conversion. They were sponsoring traffic and conversion.
Yep, that was a few weeks after, wasn't it?
Yeah, and they were going to, and I was discussing with them about them bringing me out to photograph them at TNC. And so if they did that, I was going to quit my job and then just be a full-time photographer. And then from that would have ended up parlaying into conversations if all went well, and from then on out. But it was one of those things where my life was about to change for the better, and I was going to start doing something. I love being creative, and I was about to start doing something that I love, and that got snatched. It's a very, very strange time in human history right now. You know,
It is.
and the best thing that we could do is just sort of, take a step back, you know, appreciate what you have, and not worry about what you lost. A lot of people have lost tremendously. I'm not just talking about business opportunities. I'm talking about life. There are people who have lost their lives. There are people who have lost their family. This has been a horrible, horrible point in time in human history. So I have, knock on wood, I have my health, I have my family has their health, and that's what's important. And, from then on out, I went out and I found myself a job as a CMO, and you were instrumental in my interview process. So, hat tip to you. Thank you, sir.
Pleasure. No worries.
But yeah, things happen for a reason, and glad to be on this journey still. Looking forward to a point in time where I could be creative again. But I mean, I'm creative right now with my job. It's just different kind of creativity.
And it's the whole zigging and zagging thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, funny enough, I was having the same conversation, well, not the same conversation, but similar conversation with my wife, where, I mean, she works a corporate job, right? So she works for one of the large financial services businesses in London, and she's good at what she does. She's fairly senior in that role. I promised her I wouldn't ever tell her people where she works because she's quite private about it. She's that kind of corporate.
Yeah.
But her business said if you can work from home, work from home, and she could work from home. So when lockdown happened, I'd not long started at Quicc. So I started at Quicc in January, but social media marketing world in just like March time, and we're going to be doing all the conference circuits. Lockdown happened. So then she was working from home. I was working from home. We were looking after and caring for both our children. They're 3 years old and 5 years old at the same time, in parallel. We were trying to figure out, same as you were, how to homeschool and educate both children when we didn't have a clue how to do that ourselves. And we were doing all of that in a small 3-bedroom house, which is small compared to, the kind of square footage you have in the States, in the west part of London. And, no help, no support, like locked in the house. And it did get quite stressful. I mean, we were very lucky in that we haven't, touched wood, we haven't ever lost anyone yet as a result of COVID. But we've seen everyone around us who have struggled. But we were looking at it and we're like, we don't necessarily like where we live. We don't necessarily enjoy the area. The area was convenience. It made us really look at quality of life, time with the children. And I mean, where we are, we're not too far from a couple of fields, which is quite rare where we are because we just happen to live next to pretty much the biggest patch of green in our area. And every day we'd go out there and, kick a ball around with the kids or go running or, go kind of like biking across the grass or whatever. And we'd just spend time. And then we'd go home. We're like, why can't we do that every day? Why don't we do that every day? And it made us really readdress like where we lived, how we lived, what we did. And the thing that started the conversation off between my wife and I was that we were looking at the news, and during lockdown, certain parts of the country in the UK, they've seen something stupid like a 120, in some cases 140% increase in inquiries of families wanting to move out from the cities into the country. Yeah. Even if that involves a change of job or working remotely from home. There's been that much of an increase because people just look at the cities and think, why am I here? Like, why do I live here when I could just
be in New York? It's not just, you Brits aren't all that special.
But that was one of my questions actually. It was going to be, is it the same where you are?
Yeah.
Because you do some drone footage and shots with realtors, don't you? So you know a few realtors.
Yeah. So the New York real estate market is actually The real estate market in New York's been an aberration forever. I remember in '08 when the recession happened, and the whole thing with subprime mortgages and everybody was going under in their homes. New York's prices didn't dip like everybody else. So at the time in '08, I was on active duty in San Diego. I was stationed out there from '07 to 2010, and every once in a while I'd check Redfin or Zillow or something like that and see what's going on in New York. Like, hey, maybe I can move home eventually, and because I'm originally from New York, and get a house someplace in the suburbs. There's no change. There's no change in the housing prices in New York. Is ridiculous. Right now, what's really interesting is in New York City, in Manhattan, it's the rents are dropping because so many people are leaving, and they're either moving out to Long Island because they want to be away from people, or out of big buildings with sharing the same air system with thousands of your closest friends. And
put a pin in that, by the way, because I'm going to tell you something funny in a minute.
Okay. And then they're moving out to be closer to the beaches. We have some of the world's greatest beaches in here on Long Island, and a lot of people don't think of that. Everybody thinks of New York as this huge metropolitan area. We have suburbs, we have lakes, we have mountains, we have beautiful wine country out in the East End of Long Island. And what's happening with the real estate market here is everybody's leaving the city, and they're scooping up houses at stupid prices out east. I mean, they can afford it if they're living in Manhattan, and they can afford $3,000 a month in rent. Then they can probably afford $4,000 a month in a mortgage. So, that's what they're doing. And my parents are trying to find they're trying to downsize from the home that I grew up in. My parents are getting old, and there's 3 sets of stairs in the house that I grew up in, and they don't want to walk up those stairs anymore, and they're having a hard time finding a place.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, everything's getting scooped up right now out east. We have the green space out here in Long Island. I'm not that far from Manhattan. I'm probably about a 45-minute to an hour train ride on the Long Island Railroad, and I'm probably about an hour drive, maybe less with no traffic. I mean, right now nobody's really driving to the city anyway, so probably make it there in about 45 minutes.
You see, funny enough, the wife and I, we were talking about holidaying.
Mm-hmm.
So it's school half term, literally next week.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it starts on this Friday. And we were actually saying, because it's my turn to basically arrange holiday. She did the last one. I've got to do this one. We have this thing. She doesn't tell me where we're going or anything. It's like a surprise. She knows nothing about where we're going. It's a surprise.
Well, that's fun.
Yeah. And so I kind of stipulated criteria. I asked her for criteria, and she goes, I don't want to be near people. I don't want to be in cities. I don't want to do too much driving. I don't want to cook. And I was like, okay. But that's her stipulation now. After lockdown has been, I don't want to be around people. I like the quiet. I like the country. I don't like cities. I don't want smog. I don't want dirt. If we eat out, it's got to be somewhere nice. And I don't want to cook unless I really have to. Mm-hmm. And that's basically her stipulations for going away now. And she doesn't see that changing anytime soon. She just doesn't want to be around people. And yeah, it's interesting how the world has changed. Interesting.
Yeah, it was actually a rough summer. I mean, this has been like the weirdest. This must be a strange interview for you, because you're used to giving having a live broadcast where we're talking about like creative stuff and videos, and here we were talking about barbecue and then
I like it.
Life after COVID.
I'm leaning even. I'm kind of leaning back in my chair. I'm chilling out. I might put my feet up in a second.
Yeah, no, this was a very strange summer for my family. Like we're beach people, like I live 15 minutes from my door to Jones Beach parking field 6, like, which means nothing to you, but it's just
You
a
basically
parking
live in
lot.
sandals.
Yeah, it's a parking lot at the Jones Beach is a state park, New York State Park, and it's and there's multiple beaches, and the fields are the parking fields. But yeah, 15 minutes door to parking lot, and 20 minutes until the umbrella's up. So
Nice.
it was very strange because I ended up having like anxiety attacks going to the beach because even so the beaches, New York State's when we opened the beaches, it was all of the state parks are only going to operate at 50% capacity. So they coned half of the parking spots in all the parking lots, and once you get there, and then it's like your blanket has to be 10 feet from the next blanket, that kind of thing. But it was really strange because there was like we just get to the beach one day, and our first beach trip, and there were so many people there, and I'm like, there's no way that not one of these people isn't carrying right now. Like it was just a strange feeling. And like the remainder of the summer was like figuring out a time to go to the beach where it wouldn't be so crowded, and then finding beaches that wouldn't be crowded at all. It was just a really strange time. We ended up going to a place called Fire Island. It's an outer barrier island on the southern shore of Long Island. You got to take a ferry. There's no cars on the island, and you take a ferry to get there. And we walked through it's a national park, and we walked through it, and there's nobody on there. There's a lifeguarded beach, and then there's parts of and that had a bunch of people. But like we walked to this part of the beach that was just like so secluded, and there was like a family like 50 yards that way, another family like 50 yards the other, and it was really cool. But
you should do that every weekend if you could.
Yeah. But
me too.
Strange time. But yeah, let's talk about your stuff. Come on, let's change this topic. I'm getting depressed.
Should I start talking about Barbados? Well, first, my wife's family is her dad's from North London, her mum's family's from Barbados, and what you were describing is like Barbados.
Yeah,
you even in the height of summer, there's so many beaches around there, and they keep the numbers so low that the beaches are never crowded. I've never been there. I've never been to the island and been to a beach where I even felt the slightest bit of anxiety. Like never. Even during lockdown, even during the COVID and everything. Obviously, we didn't fly over there during this period, but even family we've spoken to, they're like, no, it's still fine. It's still good. And a lot of what we talk about is, if it weren't for the corporate job, we would probably be in Barbados just chilling. She'd work remotely, I'd work remotely. I think she pretty much asked her boss if she could work US hours, and they said, but we're not in the US. So that conversation stopped.
Yeah.
But otherwise, we would just be working from there.
Yeah.
I mean, there are worse places to work from than the Caribbean. It's natural home cooked food.
I miss the Caribbean. I miss it. It's been so long since I've been to the Caribbean. Too long.
Do it. Why not?
No, we're not traveling right now. We're gonna wait. We're gonna wait to see what results the vaccine yields.
Yep.
We're gonna. Katie's father is significantly high risk. My wife, Katie, and we're still unsure. My son, my oldest, had some respiratory issues. Like, he wasn't diagnosed with childhood asthma because he grew out of it, but like there was issues with his respiratory system. So apprehensive about him. And then my mom's a cancer survivor, so you know, we've been more careful than most. You know, like we saw friends once this entire summer. Funny story about that.
So beach anxiety makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I haven't seen my best friend in a while, you know. So funny story about our first time hanging out with friends. We ended up doing like a bubble, like a social distancing bubble thing, like where we linked up with so Katie's parents live in the like 2 apartments within the same structure of a house with Katie's middle sister. Katie's the youngest of 3. So Chris's cousins, two older girls and 1 younger boy, are all in the same house with the grandparents, and Chris is my oldest. Mm-hmm. And so we decided that we're gonna, you know, come together as a family group and distance from everybody else. And, and then we separately also got my parents, because it's like you can't have one family group without the other. So like both my parents and then my brother-in-law's parents would be like that. This is, you know, they would get jealous about it. So we had to like, you know, allow for that. But we started doing that sort of thing, and you know that really helped. But for the most part, we didn't see any friends. Those were the only people that we saw. And so my youngest, William, his godfather invited us to say, hey, you know, I'm having a small get together with a small group of friends at my dad's house. His dad's a doctor. You know, he's got 3 acres and a giant pool. Okay. Nice. Okay. Yeah. All right. We'll play it careful. We'll wear our masks and feel it out. And you know, it was towards the end of summer. In New York, our numbers dipped. It actually happened like in like the smallest, you know, the deepest trough, I guess, during that point in time in the summertime. And it was under, I think like the max was like 25 people that you can have, or maybe it's 50 now. I forget. Whatever it wasn't that many. So it's like, all right, we feel kind of safe. We're going around swimming. You know, we're in this giant pool, and I was invited to do fantasy football. Do you guys have fantasy football? I mean, football for you guys in the UK is soccer.
Fantasy soccer.
Yeah.
To you.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they do. I don't play it, but there's.
Yeah. So we have fantasy American football. So I was invited to be in a league with Vincent Orlick, Tyler Anderson, Chris Strub, Marcus. Wow, how did I just forget Marcus's last name? Marketing Lion. Bella Vesta's like mentor. Trying to remember. Crap. Why can't I remember Marcus's last name? Sheridan.
Skip over. I'll get back to you. There you go.
Marcus Sheridan. So Marcus Sheridan, Scott Ayers from Agora Pulse. You know, there are a bunch of social media marketers that are in this league. And it's that day that at that party was also draft day. So I have to draft while I'm at this party, and I'm doing this on my phone, and I'm in the pool, and they're like, "Hey, come on the Zoom." I'm like, "Okay." So I open up my Zoom app and I log into the room, and here I am sitting in a pool with my shirt off, and I'm like, "Hold on, guys!" I'm getting hot. And I dunked myself under, and they're all like cracking up. But yeah, that was our first time like hanging out with people. I haven't seen anybody else since.
It's been fairly similar over here. I think it's similar for many people. We've seen family, but that's about it. We have Zoom chats. You and I have probably had a longer conversation I have done with my best friend. Because it's just like, I'm WhatsApping. Hey, still alive? Yep. You're good? Yep. Kids go? Yep. How's you? Not bad. Gotta go.
I'll tell you what I do miss. I miss having conversations about marketing, which is, you know, weird. But like it's actually like I just miss having like those tactical, strategical conversations about stuff that the kind of things that you get talking shop at a conference.
Yep.
Like I really miss that. And whenever I have the opportunity to do that, because like when I'm talking to my marketing friends on like our group chat on Facebook Messenger or something like that, we're not talking about marketing.
No.
Hey, how's your family? Hey, you want to share your bacon recipe?
Yep. Can I have some of your bacon, please?
But yeah, my cholesterol's a little high.
Well, funny enough, there's you're saying about talking shop. So Mike will know this because I think Mike's watching now. We had a big team meeting because we've got a product launch coming up. Very, very cool. You'll love it. I will tell you offline because I can't tell you everything now, but it's very cool.
Mm-hmm.
So this product launch score coming up, and we were talking last week, and Mike said, we normally have a team meeting every Monday, but do you know what? We just talked about everything in so much depth now, and it was Thursday or Friday last week. I can't remember now. Friday. It's like, we won't bother with the team meeting on Monday. And my initial reaction, I joked about it, and Mike will confirm this. My first reaction was, oh, because I was a bit disappointed because that's like, in some ways, like you say, that's the only real time when I get to talk shop, deep dive into like strategies and tactics and implementation, like the nitty gritty kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's the only real time in my week where we get to like dip into all the really gritty, marketing-y, fun stuff. I mean, I have coaching calls, I do mentoring, I do all sorts of other calls throughout the week, but that's the one call I have where it's almost like yes, it's within the Quicc team, but it's almost like a mastermind kind of style call because Mike's on there, Jason's on there, Bree's on there, Claire's on there, really, really great minds, everyone who knows what they're talking about, and you can have a really good conversation. And when we didn't have the call on Monday, I was a bit like I almost feel like just phoning them anyway. And I think that's how the world has changed a bit now. It's very virtual, but I think we now look forward to connection. Mm-hmm. And it's difficult when we don't have it.
No. I mean, I completely agree with that. Yeah. What's unfortunately, so I'm in the process of hiring somebody to work under me at the day job. And so like, I don't have that, like, hey, let's have a strategy meeting, let's talk, how are we going to get more clients? Like I don't have that ability yet. It's like me and like the sales people and,
it's a small team,
marketing v sales, hey, we need more numbers. It's like, no. We need more conversations. We need to have more, we need to be more human. It's not about, Kelly has, and we were talking about this before. Kelly is the one of my favorite sayings, Kelly Noble Marabella, the numbers don't matter if the people don't care. And, that has to be one of the greatest, quotes in marketing, and it's not said enough and not enough people know it. Kelly needs to write a book. I'm going to talk to her later today. She needs to write a book. Like that,
some good sayings.
That phrase needs to get out there. It's one of those things where, so I don't have a marketing team, marketing department until I hire. So I actually have an interview after this. I'm interviewing somebody after this. So we'll see. Hopefully he works out. But
I think the conversation between sales and marketing is always a fun one. It's just trying to define between sales teams and marketing teams, like the difference or the demarcation point almost between a marketing qualified lead and a sales qualified lead.
Yeah.
The one side always wants to push the other side a little bit kind of like further their way. And it's always an interesting conversation.
Well, what I've found is, so I've been implementing an account-based marketing strategy. Mm-hmm. And a lot of ABM has is meant to sort of bridge the gap between sales and marketing and sort of make them into a singular team. And HubSpot actually has a great platform for doing that, as far as CRMs go.
And I love the fact that their CRM is free as well. That's just awesome.
Yeah. The free version of it is fantastic, but they actually have. I'm not affiliated with HubSpot, so I'm not exactly sure with what the tier levels are called, but they have above like their sales starter, like the next level up has account-based marketing features within it. And it's actually meant to sort of bridge the gap between sales and marketing. And if my boss was a little bit more tech savvy, I'd probably see if he could, get on that with me. But
it's a process.
Yeah, I'm by default. I'm not that young, but like by default, I'm younger than him. So I've become his tech guy. I'm the CMO and his tech guy. So
well, to be fair,
hey,
again,
the printer's not working.
The acceleration of tech. Tech-based marketing is again, that's a thing.
Yeah.
They actually, there's a conference in the UK. Can we call it a conference? It's more like a trade show, really. But it's kind of a conference-ish. But it's actually called Technology for Marketers. And before lockdown, COVID, and everything, it steadily was increasing in pace. When I first went there years ago, it was quite small. Mm-hmm. And then the following year, it was in the second room. And then the following year, it was in 3 more rooms. And then the next year, it was an entirely different conference center because it was just too big. And it's been growing exponentially since then. And funny if they emailed me trying to get me to sponsor, I was like, no, my pockets are not that deep. Sorry. But they've gone online now. But the attendees they have for their online stuff is insane. Exponentially bigger than the actual in-person attendance last year, because there is just so many people now who are looking for technology-led solutions to the problems that they've got. Mm-hmm. And there's so many problems that we have in the marketing world, especially as we've been accelerating, like during lockdown and everything. I think that the landscape has changed dramatically.
Oh, yeah.
And we're just trying to keep up.
Yeah, I'm actually I'm the first CMO that this company's hired, and I'm the first digital marketer that this company's hired. The way that they've
pivoting right there.
Yeah, the role previously was, so that's a challenge in and of itself, is being like, hey, no, we don't do this anymore.
We're like flyering and cold email and
yeah. So they do stuff. They used to do stuff like going to huge conferences and events where, publicly traded retail companies, where their CEOs would go and hobnob and, and schmooze and whatnot and shake hands. And, hey, we could help you with your expansion and that kind of thing. And, or cold show up at like Ralph Lauren's corporate office in Manhattan and be like, hey, let me talk to Ralph. That kind of thing, you can't do that in a post 9/11 world, yet alone a post COVID world, so, I had to explain that sort of thing. Like, this is the way that this has to be now, you're going to have to forget what worked for you previously, because first of all, I don't do that. And second of all, nobody's going to accept that anymore. No one's going to accept the added risk of you showing up or me showing up. And second of all, I'm not going to take on that risk, so, that's not how this works. This is how this works. We're going to do some email. We're going to start a podcast. We're going to do some video. We're going to take some professional photos, and
drones.
We're going to do a lot of creative.
Get drones. Got to get involved with the drones.
Yep. We're going to take some, we're going to do, we're going to do some things where I don't want to give away my strategy. We're going to do some things where we become a more than just your name and your logo. We're going to become a human company of people who, the CEOs of these retail, these iconic retail brands are going to want to engage with, communicate with, and eventually retain. It's not, the gains won't be quick, but
it's about being human, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like that's the main thing.
It's a marathon. I preach it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. Marketing has been and always will be a marathon. Sales might be sprinting, but you know what? I'll be around a lot longer than some commission sales guy. But endurance.
Let's not talk about that. The interesting part about what you just said, apart from endurance, obviously, was it's the human element. Obviously, that's the people buy with emotion, they justify with logic. We know this, but I think the things are funny. There was something that I was getting at with this was someone messaged me on LinkedIn of all places, obviously, like cold outreach, like random connection requests. He looked like an interesting guy, so I was like, okay, accept that. And then like literally 2 minutes later, automated like messaging sequences start coming through, and I'm like, oh god, not another one. Okay, but his automated message sequence consisted of promising, I think he said it was on average he gets a 13% response rate, I can't remember what the click-through rate was in the links within. I think it was like something like an 8% or 6% click-through rate in the actual emails he sends out, in the messages, sorry. And he was going through like in this 3-paragraph message, which I rarely read on there, but it was amusing me the way he opened it. So I'm reading this and I'm thinking, hang on, so you're talking about messaging a list of 1.3 million qualified people. That's me doing air quotes again. Qualified people. Pitching them my offer, and I'm like, you're talking about the very definition of spam, yet you're calling it prospecting. It's what? But that's what a lot of people are out there doing at the moment, is trying to sell that kind of concept to people who don't understand what you and I were just talking about. It's being human first is the point. If you're trying to message via cold email 1.3 million people on a list, that's not going to work these days.
You see, no. A lot of people talk about being human. Thank you. Big props to Mark Schaefer. Marketing Rebellion, the most human company wins. It's in his title. The most human company wins. And I think once he published that book, I believe it might have been in 2018, that book came out. It sort of became the trendy marketing thing, is to be human, humanize your brand. We're going to be human, and nobody knows how to do it, which for me is laughable. There are people writing books that are like bad copies of Mark's book, and talking about being human in like an age of AI or whatever. And they themselves, their own marketing strategies are bunk. And I edited myself last minute because there was another B word that was about to come out. Like they're nonsense. People preach being human and don't practice it. And that's a huge issue. My mantra since I got into marketing has always been, because it's me. Don't be a marketer that thinks like a customer. Be a customer that works in marketing. And I didn't start calling myself a marketer until, I don't know, last year. Because of that. It's I'm a marketer. It's time I own up to the title. I can't marketers ruin everything. I'm not a marketer. It's like oh, I'm not a millennial. It's like shit. Like all right. I'm a millennial. Fine, whatever. I'm going to be 40 years old next year. It's like it's not. I don't live up to the when you think millennial, you're not thinking of what I look like. But it's one of those things where people just don't know how to be human in marketing, and but they say it anyway. And people just aren't doing it right. I know Mark Schaefer's working on a book, and I'm hoping it's a sequel to Marketing Rebellion, because maybe he could teach people how to be more human. I mean, he goes into it. He explains it very well in Marketing Rebellion. And one of my favorite stories, and he gave this story at, oh, you know what? No, Marketing Rebellion came out the next year. It came out in 19, because he gave this story at Social Media Marketing World 18, which was my first year. And I know we're winding down on time here. So, all right, cool. So he gave this speech. It was, and it's something that stuck out to me, and I brought it back to my clients, because my clients were trying to use me to spam, my marketing clients back when I was trying to start my own company. Mm-hmm. And it was one of those things where, so he gave a story. He was up on stage, and he was saying that he went to his friend's house, and he had to use the bathroom, and he went into the bathroom, and he's washing his hands. And the soap that he used was this, like, I don't know, holistic, free range, organic, cage free soap or whatever, gluten free. Insert your trendy hipster, phrase here, kind of soap. And he walked out and asked his friend, why that soap? Why do you love that brand and not, Dial, not soft soap or whatever? And and she said to him, I don't necessarily love the brand, but I love the hands that make it. Like the soap company was a local soap company. All the soap were handmade, and I believe the story goes deeper, that the soap was actually more expensive than like an Ivory or a Dial or a soft soap. And like that stuck out to me. I don't necessarily love the brand, but I love the hands that make it. And that right there, that's how you be human. And you have to, and everyone's like, okay, well, how do you show that? Okay, show behind the scenes footage, that kind of stuff. Like, yeah, everybody else is doing that too.
The good old hashtag BTS.
Yeah. Yeah, hashtag BTS. Throw a little, but most of the stuff I see that's hashtag BTS isn't even genuine. It's staged.
Yep.
And that's what we're doing right now. That's why I like to follow around like at conferences, I'm conspicuous. I'm a 250 pound, 6'1"
red polo wearing.
And I don't dress in black like your traditional photographer. It's one of those things where, yeah, you could see me, but you know what? I'm going to follow you around for like, a hot minute and see what you're doing and get you at your most genuine when you're not posing for me. I'll do the posing shots too, but.
So I'll tell you something I find this amusing every time. We've had a few people who, on social media, actually, none of the guests that we've had on this show have said anything. We're having the nice, chilled out, leisurely conversation like you and I have been having, but a few people have actually reached out and said, "So, what are you teaching us?" I'm like, "You learn from the show what you want to learn from the show. You take away the gain that means something to you." And they're like, and someone said to me, I think you should actually change the show around, and you should find topics that someone is searching for. And they basically tried to give me like an education in YouTube-based search algorithms. And you should do like topic Q&A type style shows. I was like, that's not the point of what we're doing here. We are having real human-to-human conversations. And I mean, that the product that Quicc's launching coming up soon is actually it's indexing and a search function. So everything that we have in the shows that we have with experts like you, experts, not gurus, it's all searchable and indexable. So you're not going to repurpose an hour's worth of video. You're going to repurpose quotes and snippets and 30 seconds here, 15 seconds there, a minute there. And if someone wants to know you, and if someone wants to know you deeper, then they watch the whole show. If we were just doing a Q&A based thing or a topic based thing, the title of this would be not, welcome George Damanis. It would be how to get the perfect shot at the conference from a photographic genius. But it's not that. We're not trying to educate on that point of view. We're just trying to make connection and to get to know people and to have a human conversation. Yeah,
So
that's
you
the
know
point.
what I really like is, so you're familiar with Agorapulse and you're familiar with the people there. So for people who don't know social media marketing, Agorapulse is a SaaS company, software as a service. They're a company that makes an application that where you can manage your multiple social media accounts, create a content calendar for your social media marketing, remote publishing, that kind of stuff, analytics tool to judge the performance of your social media marketing. I'm not affiliated with them. I'm not
Yep.
one of their affiliates, but I'm an Agora Pulse user, and the reason why I am an Agora Pulse user is because I find that they are, for a SaaS company, they are the most human company I've ever come across. I was using a previous social media marketing system when I started my agency back in 2017, and their customer service was just awful. They're more concerned. I'm not going to name the company, but they're more concerned with closing the support ticket than helping me successfully resolve the issue that I was having.
Transactional.
Yeah. And Agorapulse was nothing like that. I mean, in credit to Mike Alton, who's a good friend of mine, credit to him for just being a phenomenal individual. And I believe that the marketing of a brand often resembles the personality of the individual in charge of it.
Mm-hmm.
And with Mike Alton's just this genuine,
He's
loving
a nice guy
person. Yeah, he's a teddy bear. Sorry, Mike. He's
He is
this
a teddy bear.
wonderful man who loves to teach, loves to engage, and loves to write. And their Agorapulse's marketing system, their strategy is just it just reminds me of Mike. And it was a no-brainer for me to move over to Agorapulse from the other platform that I was using. And that's how you be human. If you put a personality behind your marketing, you could either be like marketing rebels or whatever, like marketing, like shock marketing kind of thing. Like you're gonna come off like a turd.
Yes, well done. Before not swearing.
So you can come off like a turd, but like you're not gonna be that human, Whereas and if you guys want to learn more about that, let me do a little plug here. Speaking of Mike Alton, Mike Alton, my friends Mike Alton, Amanda Robinson, who was here. Hi, Amanda. Jen Herman, and of course the incomparable Stephanie Liu wrote a fantastic book called The Ultimate Guide to Social Media Marketing. Again, here I am. I'm not affiliated with anything with any of the companies that I've spoken about. I'm not affiliated with The Ultimate Guide to Social Media Marketing. I didn't help them write it.
It's a good book.
It's a fantastic book. But here I am. I'm on your show. I'm not plugging myself. I'm plugging them because they're marketing correctly. They do their marketing in such a way where they build relationships. All their it's relationship based marketing.
That's going to be a quote right there, by the way, and a snip and an Instagram story.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, I would love to see Mike Alton does everything right with marketing, customer support, and just being a darn good human. You're absolutely right, Amanda. Oh, you're so welcome. I miss you. Yeah. Now I'm getting choked up. I'm getting verklempt. Amanda, Dan, talk amongst yourselves. I'll give you a topic. Chickpeas. Neither chicks nor peas. Discuss. Okay, I'm back. A little bit of Linda Richmond, early Saturday Night Live.
And there it goes.
Mike Myers as his aunt Linda Richmond.
This is a good guy. We need to see more movies with him. I really do. It was one of my favorites was So I
Shrek.
Married an Axe Murderer.
Oh.
Such a good film.
Was that might have been his first.
Oh, and Amanda misses in Real Life Consciences. Yes,
Yeah.
we all do. We talked about that earlier
Yeah.
at length. Yes, we got deep. We got emotional. There was maybe a tear.
From Dan, not for me. I don't cry. I work out.
Yeah, don't believe him. But on that note, we should probably start wrapping up.
Yeah, man.
Because that's been a bit over an hour. Words of wisdom. There's been a few words of wisdom, but we always ask everyone parting words of wisdom that you would like to leave the audience with, whether they're live or catching on the replay. And we probably will repurpose some of these as well. So parting words of wisdom from George Damanis. What do you say?
Don't be a marketer that thinks like a customer. Be a customer that works in marketing. And remember, as my good friend Kelly Noble Mirabella says, the numbers don't matter if the people don't care.
You have a voice for TV adverts.
I always thought I had a face for radio.
No, you're quite good. It's all right. But I think you should do that whole kind of like TV advert thing. Do that.
Well,
try it. Right.
I've been Dan, and this is Quicc Gains.
It is. Next week, we have someone. I can't remember who.
Come on, remember who?
Oh, I have to look it up. Who have we got next week?
Come on.
I kind of did a bit of a push for getting everyone booked in, and
find out. Come on,
I've got everyone stacked up until the end of the year.
You know how it is in the C-suite. Come on,
right.
Hurry up.
So I don't think many people in our world actually know this lady, right? But there's a lady who I know in my world, who's over here in the UK called Sam Barefoot. Okay. Now, if she doesn't drop an F-bomb, I would be amazed. She's an Instagram and TikTok kind of strategist guru, runs a social media agency over here. She's probably, you talking about being human, she's probably one of the most human people I know who put themselves out there exactly like they are in real life. She puts herself out there. She has a Facebook group that I won't say the word. She's going to say the word next week, but it's the 0Fs Squad. It's her Facebook group. But yeah, we're going to be talking to Sam next week. I may have to have a beep button, potentially. She's that kind of way inclined. Let's see how it goes. But yeah, Sam Barefoot. We have also coming up in the show, just because you quite quizzed me on it, we have coming up, we've got
Mike's Forgotten Passport.
Sorry?
Mike's Forgotten Passport.
And that. We've got Lenka from Cambridge Social Media. We have Rebecca Ward.
Oh.
We have...
Rebecca Ward is fantastic.
She is very good. We have May King.
Oh, May King. Get ready for all those T-puns.
We have PJ Ty from Uscreen. And a few other special extra people throughout December that I'm not going to tell you about.
Okay. You gotta keep people wanting more.
There you go. It's going to be an interesting few months. But next week, I honestly, I may have to actually use my Rodecaster Pro somehow here to like have just a beep button just for Sam. I'll put on like a 5-second delay or something. It should be quite funny. I'll be like, no, not that one. Yeah, that's how I feel. That's supposed to be spooky.
Spooky.
No, not that one. Not that one. No. That's the one. That's what we're going to be using. That's the button we're going to be using next week with Sam. After she drops the F-bomb every time.
Are you familiar with Chris Drubb? Real quick story.
Go on. Last one.
So Chris Drubb, Twitter guy here in the U.S., speaker at Social Media Marketing World, and originally from Long Island, New York, and oddly enough, he's a Dallas Cowboys fan, so he's a disgrace. But neither here nor there.
That means nothing to me.
Last year, Bella Vasta wanted to do a birthday video of various marketers saying happy birthday to Chris Strubb. So as a joke, and this wasn't the one that I sent, this was not the one that got used, but as a joke, I recorded one and I actually sent it out to a few people personally. And it was like, happy birthday, Chris Strubb. And I like turned to my left. I'm like, Chris Strubb? Who the is Chris Strubb? And I put, hey, Steph, woo! Dude, I'm
always fashionably late, as always.
Hashtag secret shrimp. Anyway, so yeah, I'm like president of the Stephanie of the Lunatics, the Stephanie Lou fan club. Anyway, we so I used this boat horn. It's like that. I think that's better than just a straight up beep. You know.
I've got to ask, secret shrimp. What's that about?
I can't tell you.
I'm just extending the show now. I was going to wrap it up, but now I'm just extending it because I'm curious what Stephanie means by secret shrimp.
All right. So secret shrimp is
is it a bathroom story? Is it getting messy?
Story? No. So it was at Marketing World last year, and we were joking. We were trying to do something like really cool. Was it last year or was it the year before? I forget. I think it was the year before. We wanted to do something fun, and we wanted to have a round table where we're.
So I think Stephanie just gave you permission to share the story that you already shared.
Now Stephanie gave you permission, I will. We wanted to have a round table. We ended up calling it Dim Summit. And so Dim Summit, was this thing where we were going to do Agorapulse. We tried to get Emmerich from Agorapulse to sponsor this, so we didn't have to pay for dinner. And so we're
obviously the real benefit.
Mike Alton, come on, let's Dim Summit. We ended up actually Agorapulse did footing the bill in the long run, but anyway, that has nothing to do with the story. The story was I rented a van and I grabbed like 15 people, and we all went to this. We locating like a dim sum place. We were originally going to like record it and make it a marketing event, where all of us were going to discuss, the events of Social Media Marketing World 19, and give our insightful marketing opinions on things. And it ended up turning out to like, hey, let's not record it, let's just eat. And yeah, I rented the van. Yeah. Sorry, my camera's in the middle of my screen, so that when I could, so when I'm doing this, I'm reading the comments because they're hidden by my camera. But anyway, back to the story. So we're eating all this delicious dim sum, Chinese food, and whatever else, and are at the end of the meal, and I'm like, turning the lazy Susan in the middle of the table, and I see there's this one shrimp left on like this plate, and I'm like, oh. And chopsticks in hand just went down, yoink, and grabbed it. And Stephanie was like, "Did you just find a secret shrimp?" And like from then on, it's like that's been like mine and Stephanie's like inside story, like hashtag secret shrimp.
No shrimp left behind.
No shrimp left behind, indeed.
See, there you go. Stories done. So. Secret shrimp. Thank you, Stephanie. You'll have to watch the replay because we got emotional. This is a very humanizing conversation we've had for the past hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah, but you know what? I could always say, if you want a quality book about social media marketing, you want to get The Ultimate Guide to Social Media Marketing by Mike Alton, Stephanie Lou, Amanda Robinson, and Jen Herman, all good friends.
Shameless plug right there.
Not affiliated.
Not affiliated, no. So, on that note, any other stories you want to share?
Follow at G Damanis for periods of stagnancy and brilliance every once in a while.
There you go. Oh, see, Amanda's now plugging the. It's socialmediabook.shop. There you go. We are proud, supported for George. Thank you. On that note, wrapping up, George, I knew you were going to be a very human guest, and that is the whole point of our shows. That's what we're about. And you didn't disappoint. So thank you for that. Lovely.
Ask
It's
my
been
wife.
a pleasure. Yeah, let's not go there. So next week we have Sam Barefoot talking all about Instagram, TikTok, social media, dropping some F-bombs, and maybe more than just some. It's going to be quite a funny show next week.
Hi, this is George Damanis, and I want you to join Quicc Gains next week when our good friend Daniel tries to find a dump button where he can censor copious amounts of F-bombs delivered by Sam Barefoot.
Right. So, thank you very much. Been a pleasure having you on the show.
A pleasure.
Tune in next week for our Live with Sam, which will be quite amusing. Catch the replay if you haven't called it live. We're going to use our new product to cut, slice, search, index, and repurpose lots of this show and other shows as well. Stephanie, Amanda, been a pleasure having you on the show as well, even if it is via comments. If you want to come actually live, feel free. You can join anytime you wish.
Dan's very gentle and tender.
God, here we go. You had to do that. Have a good afternoon, good morning, good day, good evening, wherever you are in the world, and we will bid you adieu. Thank you very much.
Thank you.